That was a well-formatted show. I'm Joe Rentham with my review of United Wrestling Network's Primetime Live Episode 5 show. We get to find out what the huge announcement is. And actually, I think it's going to lead to a pretty damn fun series of matches over the next few weeks. And also, we're getting Thunder Rosa versus Serena Deeb in a couple weeks. Now that is going to be a lot of goddamn fun, especially since Thunder Rosa versus Priscilla Kelly on episode 2 of Primetime Live is one of my favorite matches of the year. So I know Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb are going to kill it. But before we get to that, we got to talk about this show. Okay, I do want to address there were some technical issues with my feed, so I came in right at the Clark Connors, Danny Limelight, their entrances and everything. But that's okay. These things happen. And I enjoyed this match. Clark Connors has done great on New Japan Strong. Danny Limelight is very good as well, also being on New Japan Strong, and they cut a really good pace here, laying the strikes in, doing some really good stuff, hating each other pretty goddamn hard, taking it seriously, and can't fault this match at all. This match alone is like, okay, this is how you kick things up. You draw people in. It's like, all right, this is the kind of action you're going to see. And taking these guys that have been on New Japan Strong, which is seen by a lot of people, this is really good to get even more eyes on your product. And they got some good stars, later on the card. We get a small package for 3, though. Out of all that, out of all the moves they do, we get a small package for 3. But it was what it was. Clark Connors wins, and we get a handshake. And that was some nice stuff. Danny Limelight, though, I think is going to excel as a heel as time goes on. And then we get Marquez interviewing Fred Rosser. I kept calling him Drosser on Twitter. I would like to apologize for that because I sometimes misread names. Great shirt. Need to know where to get that shirt. That's fan-fucking-tastic. He's talking about his match with Chris Masters a little bit later. Seeing Chris Masters in a wrestling ring on a major program in 2020 is just kind of wild because I wouldn't have thought he would have stuck around. I'm glad he did. He's certainly not that bad in the ring, but I figured after he wasn't used great in his second WWE run, I'm just glad to see that he's still doing some great things in wrestling. And he shows up, and okay, they're going to have their match, and then suddenly James Storm shows up. Okay, we're going to get a 3-way. All right, that's a way to spice things up. I actually thought that was a huge announcement where I'm like, okay, a surprise return. Or a surprise debut for James Storm. All right, cool. Maybe not the biggest announcement, but we get to find out a little bit later. We get Heather Monroe, the Killer Bae, versus Elena Black, the Sorceress of Sin. This is the 3rd show that I've seen in the last 2 days from Elena Black. I watched her she was on the Shimmer 118, Shimmer at the Collective show. She was on AEW Dark that I just reviewed before this, and she was on this show. And I gotta say, I see why people praise her. And Heather Monroe is quite goddamn good as well. She was in the last match that I saw at the last indie show I went to before the pandemic hit. Her versus Liza Hall was very good, and Heather has absolutely improved in the number of months, killing it with a lot of great matches and everything. She was also on the Shimmer show, and it's just great to see these women succeeding, and they got a really good pace here, and nice quick start. Some good groundwork by Heather. Elena has some very good strikes. I do like the sorceress gimmick. I do like that. The little coffin that she opens up. That's a really nice touch. And with Heather Monroe's manager interfering or distracting and everything, and then she hits the bad Bichinoku driver. That is some excellent goddamn wordplay right there for 3. Chris Dickinson, we see footage of him from last week basically saying, he ain't coming back until United Wrestling Network gets him some competition. Otherwise, they ain't going to see him again. And they're obviously going to get him some competition. Maybe he'll face James Storm. Maybe he'll face somebody. I want to see that because Chris Dickinson, I see why people praised him a lot. And in the few episodes I've seen of this, fucking hell, that guy can talk. And he can actually work pretty goddamn good. So then we get Hammerstone, who also can really work. Hammerstone is freaking insane in person. I mean, one, he's huge, and I mean that with respect. He can move, he's super strong, super agile, and he commands your attention. You want to see more of him as time goes on. He took on a guy named Tresario, who I'm not familiar with. This was the West Coast Pro Wrestling Championship. If I ever say I'm not familiar with somebody, by the way, it is no disrespect. I only have so much time to watch so many promotions. I review WWE, AEW, New Japan, and I do some retro stuff, and I work full-time, so I'm sorry if I don't know these guys, but I mean no disrespect, or these women at all. I mean no disrespect by saying I don't know them. And you can tell this Tresario guy, he is world-traveled, and he is pretty good as well. Hammerstone just commanded the ring, got overconfident, and then Tresario took over, beating him up a little bit, playing some hit and run. And there was a bit of a botch with the finish. These things happen. Hammerstone did not look very happy, but got the victory, retained his championship. Botches happen, I'm not going to fault either guy. But I don't blame Hammerstone for looking a bit upset. And then we get Fred Rosser, the former Darren Young from WWE, by the way, in case you're not familiar, Chris Masters, and James Storm in a three-way. Seeing this in a wrestling ring in 2020 is goddamn wild, but you know what? It is great that UWN is able to provide this for us. And I do like the block the hate thing. I do like that, Rosser has been doing that for a while. And this is good stuff. Masters is picking his spots while Fred and James, which just sounds like some kind of weird, like 70s sitcom, they were, like a detective drama or something. They were attacking each other, and Masters is picking his spots. And Masters can't really work, and this was a well-worked match. A couple minutes too long, sure. But you know what? These things happen, and this was the star power they had on the show as far as, most well-known names, all due respect to everybody else on the card. And Rosser takes a DDT on the ramp. That looked goddamn painful. And Rosser pins Masters afterwards. So Storm then shows him the proper respect. Okay, good stuff. We're obviously going to get James Storm versus Rosser at some point, maybe in that, in the next thing that's going to be announced here. We get Marquez saying an 8-man open-weight tournament for the new and first ever United Wrestling Network Championship. Okay, and the belt's beautiful, by the way. It reminds me of a bit of an old NWA-style belt. Clearly keeping with tradition. I liked it. I thought it was a good-looking belt. Participants will be announced next week. Obviously, due to travel restrictions, their pool will be limited, but they will do what they can. And I'm all for it. I hope Dickinson is actually in it. I think he should be. I'm not saying he should win it. I'm just saying he should be in it. Then we get Dom Kubrick versus Dan Joseph, United TV Championship. Nice wrestling to start. Kubrick definitely has a weird look. And I'm not knocking, but just very, the mask and everything, I wasn't sure how to take him. I thought he had more of a flamboyant character. And then he suddenly turned it on. He proved he could work, got a little cocky, but also laid in with a lot of strikes. There was some nice wrestling also. Joseph seemed to have gotten his bell rung, though. Kind of landed a little badly. Looked like he was in a lot of pain. And to be fair, wrestling is a contact sport. It does look like looks like he got hurt. However, he did get the victory after Cooper got a Dragon Sleeper on. Very beautiful maneuver. German suplex 1, 2, 3, and that's it right there. We're getting Zicky Dice versus the Pope for the TV Championship next week. The return of Mike Bennett and Maria Bennett, and that's great to see. I think they might announce one other match besides Thunder Rosa and Serena D, but I don't remember. But I gotta say, I enjoyed the show, and I bought the bundle pack, episodes 5 through 8. So as long as people keep watching, I will keep reviewing this stuff. Anyway, agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Redlund. I'll see you soon.